To say the first half of the season has been emotional would be a huge understatement. Getting hurt when you feel like you have the best team you've ever had was a soul-crushing moment for me. Then to learn it's not 3 or 4 weeks, but 10 is another blow. And through it all, you have a tremendous amount of guilt on having let your teammates, fans, and organization down.
Pressure coming. Picked up. Romo tries to slide out of the pocket. Chased down from...
You see, football is a meritocracy. You aren't handed anything. You earn everything, every single day, over and over again. You have to prove it. That's the way that the NFL, that's the way the football works.
Tony, it's been real in Dallas. You've been there for 13 years of most of your NFL career, but now it's time for a change. And what is that change? Well, I'm going to break it down in this video. My top 5 teams of where Tony Romo might end up and if it makes sense for a fit and why. Here to start on my number 5 list, straight to Arrowhead, the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that this is definitely a random team starting off with the Tony Romo checklist. So why would I think Kansas City? Let's see. Well, you have Alex Smith as a starter. Backup role is definitely available within Nick Foles because he's out. There's no option. And then you have an unknown character within Tyler Bray. The problem is that they don't have that much cap space, pretty much under $4 million. Is it really a gamble to really bring Tony Romo to Kansas City? I'm not sure if it's not the brightest move in Kansas City's favor, because majorly they have other players that decide to let go or the franchise tag. Now from number 5 to number 4, which is a very surprising team, why would I add this NFC East rival into our conversation? Here at number 4 would be their rival, the Washington Redskins. Why the Washington Redskins? See, in cap space, they're $58 million, so they have a lot of room to cover and signs a couple of key players on both sides of the ball. However, as far as the current quarterback situation, there are still no negotiations between the organization and current quarterback starter Kirk Cousins, which the last 2 years he has broken the Redskins' passing records percentage and completion. But the biggest downfall for Kirk has always been crunch time interceptions.
Pulls it down, throws, and he's picked. Intercepted by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
So can you really trust in Kirk Cousins?
Well, we're waiting.
So I think in the Redskins' favor, if you were to re-franchise tag Kirk Cousins, if you bring in Tony Romo on a cheap 2-3 year deal, and let's just see how the situation works out. If Kirk messes up in the early part of the year, you know, this is a chance for Tony to really show out. Why not be the biggest name for him in a return against the Cowboys? I mean, really think about it. The hatred that would just fill up his mind. I mean, that would make a lot of sense why I see him probably going to there. Coming in at number 3, which is the early head team for this off-season acquisition, but depending on their spot as far as come next month. Here at number 3, I have the Denver Broncos coming in. In Denver's situation, with the walkaway Super Bowl win of last year's 2015 champs, with Peyton Manning officially retired 1 year after, you only have basically one experienced person with 1 year plus experience, and then you drafted a last year rookie within Paxton Lynch. Current starter Trevor Siemian, despite the criticism that he has had up and down his first year as a full-time starter, there's still a lot of questions as far as can we really depend on him, the dependability for him to win games. Also for the same thing for Paxton Lynch. So I think it'll be a suitable trade deal for Dallas to send Tony to Denver. I do think offensively they just need help on the offensive line, and a decent running game will actually help the issue out as well. Defensively, no question about it. They have a top 5 defense, no question about it. So if you bring Tony Romo into the situation, I think the veteran leadership will definitely surpass the expectations that John Elway would have considered. Coming in at number 2, which surprisingly has been a whole lot of uproar on the airwaves and social media lately, the Buffalo Bills, surprisingly. Why that? A lot of questions as far as going into the new year. a big question as far as who's really going to be the starter. Now, despite a couple years ago, great, no question about it, good performances besides the up and down criticism on and off the field by Tyrod Taylor. Looks like he's going to be the odd man out this year, guys. I don't know how Bills fans would feel about that. I mean, can you really even think despite Tony Romo's injury-prone history? Can you really see that being the answer? I'm sure some of y'all will probably say, probably not. But if you really think about it, if you were to restructure Tyrod Taylor's contract, or if you were to release him, you got to start scratch from the books. You might as well have a veteran, arguably probably in a better situation. I'm not saying playoff-wise as far as what's the bigger picture here, but I do think that you need to have some stability. Now, for my number one spot, and this is probably a legitimate reason why I will pick them as my number one team. And it's only because they signed someone last year from the Broncos squad, which was probably the biggest bust in free agency of signing a quarterback. Y'all know what I'm talking about. My number one option for Tony Romo's landing spot, the Houston Texans. I'm going to go ahead and break it down as far as why. The Houston Texans arguably have never had a quarterback with a lot of leadership pending compared to all the quarterbacks that have walked into Houston since its expanding franchise debut days in the early 2000s. So despite that, the biggest positive note I could probably say, what would look good for Tony in Houston, is a young team on the offensive side of the ball. You have DeAndre Hopkins, you have Braxton Miller, no question about it, going to be somebody in a couple years or so. And then you got, I think it's Corey Fuller? No, Tyler Ford. Yeah, forgive me. Whatever. Don't care. So, you're very young on offensive side of the ball. Do I think that maybe you could build around? Absolutely. I think that you gotta have to build around the draft-wise, like they have been doing these past few years. I think that this was probably a very, very good spot for Tony to land. You'd still be in the heart of Texas, but you'd be down the street in Houston, if that makes any kind of sense for people that are watching this. Well, you guys, that will do it. My top 5 teams that I believe that Tony Romo can actually fit, land, and actually make a difference this coming year moving forward. So if you got any comments, or maybe you want to draw out maybe different views as far as where he might land in comparison to mine, please go ahead and drop it down in the comment section. And you can still follow me on the description box through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even check out my sports blog at CaliBG804.sportsblog.com. So it's your boy BG. I'll chat with y'all later.